Day before the Champions League final at Hampden, 2002. Bayer Leverkusen against Real Madrid. Sitting in the dressing room as part of a group of 4 or 5 journalists and Gerard Houllier. And we're interviewing him, and it's largely about the next day's game. And your name comes up. I can't remember if I asked him something, but he turned, he was sat on the bench, we were sat, around him in chairs, and he kind of looked both ways and he went, Danny Murphy, he said, I think he's England's Michel Platini.
I remember this, yeah. I got out.
Well, he got out because he told journalists.
I took some stick for that.
Well, that wasn't really my purpose in asking.
It's a compliment.
Get the stick out of the way if you want, but fuck me, it's a compliment. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he had a very, he had a huge impact on me, and his kind words there were, I think he's talking about my football intelligence rather than, obviously I wasn't as good as Platini.
Never mind.
No, but I think,
down.
No, I've got to play that.
So.
Yeah, he said it. I think he said it. I'm just trying to give it clarity for people who go, "Oh my God," it's. I think he appreciated football intelligence, and that is playing the ability to play different positions, do the job, and be clever and intelligent with my creative play. He was irrelevant of that comparison. He was a special man because he was a good football manager, but he was a person who cared about his players, very, very, to every small details.
Without slowing your flow, for those who are listening, does that make him something of a rarity in football? Yeah, because there's 2 types of caring from a manager's perspective. There's caring about your football and your football development. There's caring about your personality and individual development as a human being. Yeah.
And sometimes some managers pretend they care about both, and they don't. It's gestured. They'll ask you how the kids are, not listen to the answer. A bit like people do in life. He cared, and he cared because you remembered everything. Remembered your kids' birthdays.
That's the sign.
You remember, but I mean, there's what a warm man. He was ruthless as well. He had a ruthless side. He did, for me, something that I can't be ever thankful enough for, which is gave me perspective on what I should be doing and how to be a better footballer in person, which then gave me a career at the club I loved. Because if it wasn't for him, my career at Liverpool would be a fart in the wind.
Specifically, what did he have to teach you then?
Well, there was 2 aspects for me, really, which I think he focused on, which was the importance of looking after myself physically, away from the pitch. So I liked the bevy, I liked going out and girl. I didn't know how to look after myself properly. So he educated me on the importance of me being physically right to be the best I could be, instead of me just relying on talent. That was the first thing. And the second thing was about it was perspective. So it was to understand the opportunity I had, the impact it had on others, as in loved ones, family, on legacy, on your memory, on your own well-being later, and looking back and knowing that, it gave me perspective on what the opportunity I had was, and not thinking everything was just going to keep falling into place. He made me understand that I was in a position very few people get in, and made me understand that I have the control to make this special, and kept reminding me of it. And what he also did wonderfully well was when I fell into these comfort zones, he used to call them, when you get a bit arrogant and think you're better than you are, he'd pull you back.
How?
I'll never forget the best example. He said to me, come and see me in the office. I said, okay. What's up? I said, nothing. He said, you haven't said good morning for 4 or 5 days, you haven't shaved, you're dressing scruffy, you're rushing off after training, don't see you eating with the lads, something's wrong. I want to help you. So I was like, no, I'm all right. So he said, we need to liven, get back to you. He said, because if you don't, I can see you slipping and stuff, you'll be out. So I was like, oh, well, you can kind of, whatever. Anyway, true to his word, left me out a couple of weeks later. So because I know him so well, I went, what's going on? He said, I warned you. Comfort zone, not training, saying, not looking at, I told you. So he said, now what you got to do, go away, come back into training like it's your first day. I want you to run around like a lunatic every day. Forget your quality. I want everyone here to be, nobody at this training ground is going to be able to say to me, don't put him back in, because you're working that hard and your attitude's that good, and you've got a spring in your step back. He said, or don't do it.
It's on you.
It's on you. And I was like, oh, Joe, I wanted to argue with him, but I couldn't. He was right. And so I left and I did it. And I got back in. 5, 6, they kept winning. But I tell you, he had that ruthless side, but he's got a wonderful habit, not every time getting it right, but he did it with Stevie. Mm-hmm. We played, you probably know this story, but we played Basel, last group game, Champions League. We had to win to go through. We've not had a good group. Not a problem, should beat them really, not that good. 3-0 down half time. 3-0 down. And by the way, this is a good side we had then. Dragged Stevie off half time. Dragged him off, left him out the next 3 or 4 games. And Stevie after that, but not just dragged him off, pulled him in. Had a chat with him. Stevie had some things going on. But just knowing when to...
And which characters you poke and which characters you look after.
Yeah.
Which is maybe is a mix of the two.